Thank you so much for being willing to join us and go live. It's such a treat to get to talk to you and see you.
Thank you for having me.
Well, I love your work so much. I've followed you for years, and it was such a treat. Looks like the letters look a little backwards with the camera here, but your new book is so beautiful, and congratulations on it, Barbara.
Thank you so much. It's really exciting for me to have a first real book.
Yeah. Well, yeah. You've shared a little with me, and I thought everyone else might really enjoy your story about some of your connections to Japan, because your book does focus on Japan through the 4 seasons, and you told such a sweet story to me.
Yes, actually I'm connected to Japan since like more than 30 years ago, because I had a pen friend. It was before the internet and everything, so we were writing real letters and sending each other pictures since I was 16 years old, and so I have always been fascinated by Japan, and so I had to wait until 6 years ago to go really there. But we still keep in contact with my pen friends. So
that's such a wonderful story, and I know I've shared that my brushmaker friend in Tokyo is one of my connections, who I met when I was about 11 years old, and those connections and impressions we make early can really last and spark passions.
I'd love to visit a brushmaker. I'm thinking about my next book. It will be about arts and crafts in Japan, so I will feature a brushmaker.
Oh, well, I'll share his address with you.
I would love to. Because the craftsmen in Japan are protected like national monuments.
Yeah.
So it's really interesting how they are connected to arts and crafts.
Yeah. It's such a special connection, and one I hope we can all help honor and appreciate.
Yes.
Well, Barbara, I wonder if we can jump to over our desks, and you have like the most colorful palettes. I always love seeing your palettes, and I wonder if you could give us a tour of some of your colors and your supplies, and a little bit of your background with sketching and watercolor.
Yeah. So that's my day-to-day palette in my handbag. And this was my spring palette for the cherry blossoms.
Oh my gosh, I love that. Look at those range of pinks.
And that's mainly Holbein, because they have like really a lot of shades of pink. So it's really exciting. This Japanese brand of watercolor. Yeah, but so that's what I take when I go in springtime, but I actually prefer autumn. So I take these 2 and then in springtime I took the 3 of them. Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, I love that. I do the warm and the cool as well. I like that organization of colors.
Yes. It's handy. Yeah. Because I really like to have a lot of colors. So it's handy when you're urban sketching and you want to go quick. I don't take so much mixing time. This is a mix I made. It's a bit special. It's a gray I made myself, because I don't find grays that I like. So it's a mixture of ultramarine blue and transparent orange. So I mixed it, and then I put it in the pan.
Oh, wow. So you squeezed a little bit of each out and then mixed them together and put them in your palette?
Yes, with a palette knife, and then I put it in my pan, the mixture. Yeah.
Yeah, what a nice process to mix your own. I feel like a lot of artists have their preferred grays, like you or Liz Steele and Jane Blundell.
Yes, and if you like it a bit cooler, you just add blue to it. And if you like it a bit warmer, you just add some more orange, or burnt sienna is good as well.
What's that brown you have on your left palette in the big square pan? That must be a paint you use a lot.
It's transparent red oxide. Previously I had burnt sienna. It's my favorite color, but I now switched to Daniel Smith transparent red oxide because it's more granulating.
Yeah, I think I've got that in my palette too. That gets
It's a really very juicy color, like really warm, like fire.
Yeah, that's a fun color.
Yes.
Can you share a little bit of your background as an artist? I know you're a trained architect.
Yes, I'm an architect and I do restoration of monuments. In the meantime, I will wet my colors because I always do that, so we paint more fast. So I'm an architect and still work full time as a architect for restoration of monuments, and I also have background in restoration and conservation of wall paintings. So I did those studies as well because I have a lot of artworks to restore. When we restore monuments, there's often wall paintings and other artworks, and it's really I always wanted to be a paint restorer, but my parents wanted me to do university, so that's why I became an architect. Otherwise, I would have preferred to be an artist also, but I had to have a real job. But now I'm happy because I really like my job. So
and now
no
you're
problem.
both.
Yeah. So now I actually did architecture because I like to draw. I love to draw and paint, and I thought, well, these are the studies that are closest to painter artist. But then when of course when I finished my studies, there was a computer everywhere, so we didn't draw by hand anymore, just with a computer. So I was really frustrated, and now I just paint for pleasure. And sometimes I do reconstructions of colors in the monuments that we are making, restoring. So it's still handy to be able to do some watercolor in my job as well. If you want to show to the client how it will be, you can quickly do a sketch. And people still love to have sketches by hand instead of computer images. Yeah.
Yeah, it's a good skill that translates to all of what you do. So when you wet your
there
palettes,
is the lights. My husband brought some lights.
Yeah, looks good.
Yeah.
When you wet your palette, do you go through then and you prefer to wet them with your brushes, or do you ever use like a little spray mister?
I don't often use the spray. I prefer to put a drop of water in it. Yeah. I don't know why. Yeah, I could use the spray actually. But it's really to have a drop of water, it makes it really wet. And so they become really juicy.
Yeah. I've noticed in your sketches in your book, and everything I've seen of yours, you've got these really vibrant colors.
Thank you.
And what paintbrushes do you like to carry as you go out sketching?
Yeah, I have I have some travel brushes. I really love these. You have them as well at your website, Rosemary's. And this diagonal brush, you can really do a lot with it, because you have a really fine point, and also a broad wash. So I use these a lot. But then I am really a brush maniac, so I usually also carry my normal brushes. These are two brushes I will use. I bought them in the pigment shop. It's also in my book. This really fantastic shop in Tokyo by architect Kengo Kuma. And it's really like a heaven for artists. They have a lot of pigments and paints and really a lot of brushes. Yes, that's the one.
Oh, I would love to go
shop.
there. A candy shop for artists.
And the people are really so nice. Yeah. I also made a watercolor workshop there. It's really amazing place. They have a big table where you can try all the stuff. So really amazing. Yeah. You have to go there. And I bought this funny brush. I don't remember which hair it is. It's quite stiff, and it's excellent to do vegetation. It's closer. It's kind of wild boar or something.
You can kind of scrub it into the paper.
Yeah, it's really stiff, and so you can do like this without damaging it. Because if you do like this, like dabbing to make the plants, it's sable brushes don't like that so much. But so this is really nice. And then I like also this brush. It's like for lettering. And they make their own brushes. They have the logo on it, or they buy some other brush. Yeah, I have that one as well that you hold there.
Yes, looks like a similar size.
Yes. So this is really a fine point also to draw with the brush. But then I have much more brushes, but then we need a couple of hours. And this is the Rosemary's, like the same one, but a bit bigger, and not a travel brush. Yeah.
I thought I'd mention to everyone, we did just put on our website yesterday for our newsletter and have a few left, the Rosemary R13, which is a sable synthetic blend with a really long pointed tip that I thought I'd play with. I've been enjoying as a really, it's got kind of a snappy point and then also absorbent with the sable.
I have to try that. Yeah. I also like the Escoda travel brushes. I use them as well. They have a lot of choice. It's a Spanish company, a family company. They're really great people also. They make everything themselves.
And when you sketch too, Barbara, I've noticed that you don't use pen. You use a mix of pencil and watercolor.
I use some ballpoint pen, a very fine ballpoint pen sometimes when I do, especially architecture. Or this is with Tweak and Chinese ink. I learned that from Kia Kian. Yes, and that's ballpoint pen. It's a very fine ballpoint pen.
So when you do use pen, then it's pretty subtle.
Yeah, I can show the ballpoint pen.
Yeah, I'd love to see it.
It's like this. It's a very, very fine.
Oh, that's beautiful.
Yes, it's really fine pen. And it looks a bit like pencil, but it's thinner line. I love thin lines.
Oh, I'd love to, if you can let us know what brand that is, or I can post a link to that.
Mark's Ink.
Mark's Ink.
I think it's Japanese as well.
Oh, Japanese make such fabulous painting and stationery supplies.
I can send you a link later.
Oh, fabulous. I'll include that in our video notes too.
Yeah, and it's great because it's waterproof. I don't like when it's not waterproof.
Yeah. And interesting. It's such a subtle touch in your sketches. Well, Barbara, I know we talked about doing a little demo. If you might, I know we're not. I wish we could all be in Japan together.
Oh yes, I just had to cancel my trip, so I'm so sad.
Oh, I hope you get to reschedule that for next year.
Yeah, I go back next year. Definitely.
But I wonder if we can imagine that we all get to go out with you and you can describe some of this scene and sort of walk us through your approach. And something that I'm curious about too, Barbara, is I feel like something I really am drawn to in your work is you create these just like wonderful textures and splatters that and the blending of the wet and wet. So I know that's something I'm personally really curious if you might be able to share a little of some of that technique. It's it has both a spaciousness, and your use of the white space really lets all your work breathe really beautifully.
Thank you. It's sometimes they don't all breathe, but sometimes it's difficult to stop when you're having fun.
Oh, isn't that the truth?
Yes. And actually, especially when you make small sketches, I just continue sketching. I don't wait until some layers get dry, so that's how they blend so together. I don't usually wet my paper before, and then I like to do a lot of splashes, and that's also a trick that I learned from like Paul Wang or Kia Kian, because when you're just afraid to ruin your paper, you just make it dirty, so you're not afraid anymore to ruin it.
I love that. I
Yeah.
remember in my demo with Paul, the very first thing he did was fill a brush and just tap it on the paper. And
Yes, yes, exactly. And that's why these big brushes, big natural hair brushes, they're excellent for splashing.
mm,
Mm.
mm.
And then I also like to try to, but I don't always succeed. Now I'm also stressed to ruin my sketch in front of everyone. But I also try to sketch and paint at the same time, so people don't get bored, or I don't get bored.
Mm-hmm,
So,
mm-hmm.
and I try to, that's a lot of work I had to do to try to get loose from what's in front of you and just make something you like, because we are not copy machines. We're just trying to have some nice sketching. So, yeah.
Yeah. And that's something that takes practice, I think, to look at
Yes.
something and sort of interpret the colors or interpret the shapes.
Yes, yes, indeed. So here I will try, I like to put some more vegetation behind the statues to make them get out of
Mm-hmm,
the page. And so the light is definitely coming from top. Usually it
mm-hmm.
is, huh? Even when there's no sun. Here is no sun, so you don't see the shadows very well, but light always comes from top. So I try to make it dark and to have some negative spaces. Just tell me if the sketch is not well on the screen, so I can move the paper.
Sure, sure. And what kind of paper are you working on, Barbara?
I took some Hanemühle today because it's very white and I was afraid not to have enough light.
Mm-hmm,
So it's very, very white paper. But
mm-hmm.
usually I work in sketchbooks, and I have Fabriano paper sketchbooks or Sandoz Waterford. I like as well for sketchbooks. And what else? Sea White of Brighton is also very white. When I make drawings for the book, some drawings I had to I will start, otherwise I try to talk in the same time, but that's not easy. Yeah, some sketches were straight from my sketchbooks I made in Japan, and some I had to do again because the layout was not fitting well for a book. So now there's a lot of shadow. I'm sorry, but it's getting dark here. So
Oh, no, it's okay. It looks great.
yeah.
And everybody who's watching, this download is available. And if you look at my link in bio at Art Toolkit, the link has a download for this. And Barbara, we'd love to hear a little bit about the image if you're able to talk and sketch at the same time. I know that can be a challenge.
Yeah. It's there are Jesus statues in Kamakura. Kamakura is it's the old, very old, ancient capital of Japan. But I don't know the story quite well. But so there were statues that are in front of the temple, and people are worshipping them.
And what's that beautiful green?
That's undersea green. It's Daniel Smith's undersea green. It's wonderful. And then I also like, when I make greens, I like to add some turquoise splashes in them. And so I will draw the little face. They're so cute. So actually, I try to do, of course, what is really there, but without getting myself too stressed over the exact photographic result. But I think the importance is to have the little expression right.
Uh-huh.
Really very peaceful.
I'm kind of marveling at the control you get, some of those big splatters.
It's not always under control, actually. No, it's just sometimes they just go like all over. So it's not always under control.
I'm interested too that you do a mix of painting and sketching at the same time. That's really neat. And then you're painting, your brush marks have a chance to dry as you do some drawing.
Yes, yes, yes. It's and then also it's sometimes otherwise I just get bored. And actually when I notice that when I just draw, just paint without drawing, my drawing is getting like too stiff.
Mm-hmm.
I will add some autumn colors to it with transparent red oxide.
And Barbara, I wonder too, after our demo, if perhaps you could send me a picture or a diagram with notes of what your colors are in your palettes. I know everyone would really love that. I could post it to our blog.
Yeah, good. But the watercolor is getting lighter when it dries.
That's always so sneaky.
Yes, that's the little feet. They're so cute. And then I changed the colors a bit of the plants to have just some more. I will show the Japanese brush. I just, you can just make like vegetation marks with it.
Oh, that's fabulous. And they have a more, they're really irregular in a nice,
yes,
more
yes,
abstract, organic.
You don't control them at all. And then I also like to do when I have like trees. There are some trees. So I like to make them like really strong in pencil to have some different structure.
Do you have a favorite pencil?
Yeah, I use these Blackwing pencils.
Mm-hmm.
I think they look good. But the graphite is really strong.
I know I find as an artist, it's fun to use supplies that look and feel beautiful.
Yes, yes, yes.
Sort of the delight of them.
Yeah. So, and here is a little one next to it. You have visits.
Oh my God, I should tell them to quiet down. That's my husband and daughter playing in the next room.
That's cute. It's not a problem. No, that's okay.
We finally have our windows open after days in the smoke.
That terrible fire.
Yeah,
terrible.
Our hearts go out to everybody still experiencing it, but boy, it's a relief.
Yes, and all that nature is horrible.
Yeah. We've been a little cooped up over here.
Terrible. Yeah.
So when you've got your beautiful pre-mixed dark, do you have any other favorite colors to mix your darks? Or do you often use your pre-mixed?
Yes. Oh, yes. I have a green that I use. Oh, it's Perry Lane green. And like it's really like black green. Very, quite cool, but very dark green like this.
That's such a terrific green.
Yes, yes. And that's also interesting. I also use a lot of green earth. And actually, it's interesting to have like these cooler greens, because if you make a scenery, it's important to have what's in the back in cooler colors to make it go further away, to give impression of a landscape that is going further away, and that what is in front is darker and warmer.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I love your range of greens.
Yeah, I love green. I know I mean, I always learned, because I did a lot of also workshops with watercolorists, and we always learn that, hey, you can mix green, like have blue and yellow, but there's so many beautiful greens existing. I just can't resist them.
Well, sketching too, I find it's a mix. Depending how much time you have, it can be awfully convenient
Yes.
to have some pre-mixed.
Yes. This head is a bit too large. That's better. The watercolor is not always doing what you want, but that's okay. I mean, that's it gives personality to your painting.
Yes. Those of you with kids, you might know the book Beautiful Oops, which I read with my daughter a lot, that embrace what's on the page and kind of roll with it.
Yes, and it's so sad sometimes when I talk to people, like when I give a workshop, they're like terrified because some teacher told them that what they made was crap. And they're like I was giving a workshop in August, and there was someone terrified because she said, I didn't draw anymore since I was a kid. Because she was just like terrorized by this teacher that told her that you can't even draw a rectangle. I can't do anything with you. And I mean, that's awful.
Oh, it's such a shame.
Yeah. You don't need to draw a rectangle to make art. Like, okay.
So when you go on a trip, do you ever have, is it ever hard for you to choose how much paper to bring, or do you worry about having enough paper?
No, because I love to visit art supply shops and try new things. I always go to check if they don't have something that I never tried, or I like to try new paper. But I always like to take also accordion sketchbooks, these Leporellos. You know?
Yeah. Oh, I've seen some of those on your website too, and we offer on ours the little mini zigzag book.
Yeah. I love it because then at the end you have like one big artwork. So I love to use those. And yeah, but surely I take much more art supplies with me than what I need. Yeah. So probably I'm kind of afraid to run out of paper.
I guess when I do expeditions to remote places, I guess that's something on my mind. And one of the things I tell myself is, if I used up all my paper, it would be a really good problem, because it will have meant that I would have done a lot of painting.
Exactly.
So paper's not precious.
Yeah, that's true.
What's that nice gold? Is that quinacridone gold?
It's raw umber. Yes, I think that's Winsor & Newton. I love the raw umber of Winsor & Newton. It's a really interesting color.
It's really interesting to me how you can work your way around a drawing with that mix of painting and sketching, and kind of explore it and let the colors slowly flow into each other. It's a different sort of process to me. It's really fun.
Yes, it's I did a lot of experimenting with that also after a workshop with Paul Wang. You did also live with him.
Yeah.
And then after having done his workshop, I really did more of that. Like, and also with Ian Fennelly, he's also like that. Well, when you're bored, you just stop painting and you draw a bit. So, so that's what I do now.
And that's an attitude you seem to have in your art too, of really having it be accessible and enjoying the process of.
Yes, yeah. And I did a lot of videos during lockdown, and I also noticed that's just also more interesting for people to watch when you just switch from one to another.
So I need to practice splattering more. Do you get your brush really wet to splatter?
Yes, 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 yes. Really wet and a lot of paint.
Really wet and a lot of paint. Here, I'm going to try again.
Yeah.
There we go. Oh, now they're a little out of control, but
That's okay. Yeah, it's not always going where I want, but it doesn't matter.
And I see a question about sort of, do you begin with a vision of a composition when you sit down, like make a little viewfinder or do thumbnails, or do you just kind of explore and see how it fits onto your page as you paint?
I do, especially when I'm painting urban sceneries. I think like not now because it's just a small picture, but I think that okay, what shall I paint? And then because I tend to draw too big and then it doesn't fit on the page, so I like trace with my finger on the page, like okay, it's going to go there, and then when it's too big, you have to be able to stop drawing and painting before you get to the edge of the page, otherwise it doesn't look good. But yes, it happens quite much that it actually I draw too big and then like the roof doesn't fit on it or the door doesn't fit on it, so it's not always a success. But I don't like to plan and think too much. I have spent a lot of time like during my studies drawing perspectives and drawing first the overall shape and planning and everything, and then it's get really a nuisance. It's not fun anymore, so I stopped doing that because it was boring. Yeah.
Well, you certainly have a lot of joy that comes through your paintings to me. And I think too, I'm curious as you sketch, what helps with your decision of to leave something unpainted or painted?
It's difficult. It's just testing. Like yeah, when there's too much paint, you just make your brush dry and suck it up. It's just a lot of testing and then like thinking that, oh, actually it looks good. I don't need to draw that here because the eye will complete it. So I don't have I don't know actually what makes me stop.
A little intuition, it sounds like.
Yes, it's difficult to answer.
Yeah.
I think also sometimes it's very simple. I just don't draw what I think is too difficult to draw. So that's like, or what I think will not look good because I don't know, or especially also if it looks weird, don't draw it, because if it looks weird, like in real life, it will look weird on your paper.
That's great advice. The
Yeah.
the editing we can do. I feel like I often have the temptation to sketch everything, but the simplifying, that's part of the choice we have as artists, is what to simplify and focus on and sort of draw the eye to.
Yeah. Yes, you have to simplify.
Sometimes easier said than done.
Yes, true. And with the splashes also, it's weird that sometimes there are periods when, I don't know, I like don't move my hands well and they like don't look good. But yeah, I just tap with my finger. And it's good to, when you make a tree, like I don't want to draw the leaves because you can't just draw all the leaves, so you just make splashes to suggest the leaves on the trees. And the best is just with a natural hairbrush.
Let's see if I can find one to try. This one looks similar to yours. I love that red oxide. That orange is such a fall color that we get coming this time of year.
Yes, yes. And it's really like the maple trees in Japan. They really look like that at some time of the year. They're really amazing.
Well, Barbara, you've got me determined to practice my splattering more. It's really fun, and
Yeah.
I really like your splatters, and I'm not quite feeling mine as much. I'm gonna have to do some experimenting.
I just tap with my index
Oh,
finger,
uh-huh.
and I move the brush up and down.
Oh, okay. I was tapping on my finger. Oh, thanks for clarifying that.
Yeah, you can do like that, or like this. Mm.
Having those, oh, there, that's a little more successful, a little more control.
Yeah.
Hit the brush harder. Thank you, Eileen.
Yeah, you just have to hold it between two fingers very loosely, so it will move.
Yeah.
Like when you hold it like this very loosely.
Thank you.
Yeah, but your splashes look good.
Oh, they're getting there. They're getting there.
And then when you take a bigger brush, you can have some bigger splashes, and then you have more variation in your splashes.
Yeah. Those textured backgrounds, it just helps the layers of the color. There's so much interest, but then the looseness really lets your foreground pop. And
yes,
yeah.
And then when you have really like a dark background.
Barbara, I see a question. Do you ever work on loose, bigger sheets?
Yes, I do. I like quarter sheets, or yes, I take sometimes loose sheets with me because sometimes I just want to have bigger painting, and sometimes the sketchbook is just too small.
Do you have any other favorite supplies you take with you to be comfortable when you're out sketching that you might share with us? Like a favorite stool, or something you're never without, your favorite water bottle?
Yeah, I have this kind of pot to put my water in. That's a big one, but I have a small one, and you just squeeze it. It's really light and easy to take with you. What else? I have a very small stool. I tried a lot of stools, and each time that I go to like a camping store, I look at the stools, because when you're traveling a long time, everything is getting too heavy. So I try a lot of stools, and some are really not comfortable. So now I have a small one, a square one, but it's not. Yeah, it's okay. It's quite comfortable. I bought it also in Japan. And then I tried some aluminium tripod stools, but then my legs are hurting. So you have to find a bit with your anatomy what is more comfortable, because otherwise it gets really painful.
How long do you typically spend on a sketch outside?
Like 3/4 or 1 hour.
I see a great question too, about best way to transport brushes that aren't travel ones. I'd love to see what you have. I
can show it. Just a minute, I get it.
Sure, I'll pull mine out here. I have two things. This is a bamboo roll I've had for since 2005, and cut down for a trip around the world. And then
this.
Oh, good. Yeah, I was just showing. I have a very similar bamboo roll.
Yeah.
This one I cut down.
It's Chinese. It's really cheap.
Yeah.
You have a string to close it.
Yeah, they're nice and
lightweight. I always take that with me, because sometimes I do prefer these, especially when you make a bigger painting. Um, well, there are big travel brushes as well. This is a small one, but
this is something I carry for bigger brushes if I'm going out. It's just a Velcro brush holder. I don't know who made this one. Yeah, and the bigger
yes.
travel brushes. Let's see. I know Rosemary. We have the bigger dagger. I'm hoping we'll have these back in stock soon. This is the R16.
Yes, yeah, that's a nice one. Ah, I have the 12. Oh, they have a bigger one. That's
Yeah,
good.
it's fairly new.
Yeah, it
Same.
must be something like this one then.
Yeah, I think so. Just in the travel form.
But the number is gone, but I don't know.
Barbara, I know you have some really terrific resources on your website, and you've made so many videos.
Yes.
Can you let people know what is going on art-wise for you, or how people can follow you, and if you have any other projects coming up? Then
yes, I'm doing this. I did a lot of videos during the confinement because I was out of work at the office. So I did everyday videos. It was really interesting. So I'm working on online courses, but I don't know yet when it will be done because now I have a lot of work again. So it's a lot of work to give online courses, videos, so a bit more structured than the free ones I put on YouTube, but I continue to put videos also on my Instagram and on YouTube. So and otherwise I'm thinking about my next book because it's a lot of fun to make books. Yeah, and I have a great editor. She's really dynamic and enthusiastic, so that's lovely.
and this book comes with an English insert if you don't speak French. And
Yes,
it's
yes.
just stunning, and it's available through a link on your shop, on your website.
Yes, it's my editor. She will send it to the whole world.
Oh, well, I love my
Yeah.
copy. I know my mom ordered a copy too before I could
Oh,
buy
thank
it for her for
you.
Christmas.
Yes, I wrote the insert with the English Urban Sketcher, Pet Southern Piers. And I try next book that it's really bilingual. That would be better than just an insert.
Well, I'm looking forward to hearing about all of your projects, Barbara. And
Thank you.
so happy to have you join me. I hope someday we get to meet in person, but it's just such a treat.
That would be great. That would be great. Yeah. Maybe if there's an international symposium again, maybe one day you can come.
I would
with
love
urban
that.
sketchers.
Yeah. Yeah, let's in the meantime we'll all enjoy the ways we can connect, and thank you everyone who joined us today too. Yeah,
that's really lovely. Oh, there's my editor. She says it's okay for her to make another book. That's Edition Akinome, it's my editor. Great.
Well, thank you again, Barbara.
Well, thank you, Maria. Thank you so much. It's great to see you on the screen anyway, instead of just mailing, and great to talk to you. It's amazing that we have all this technology now.
Yes. Well, keep in touch and have a wonderful weekend.
Yes, thank you. You too. Have a great weekend, and thank you again.
Yes.